Everybody wants to know, is Ghislaine Maxwell going to jail? Is she going to be convicted?
That is the $1 million question. And apparently we might find out as soon as Christmas. Merry Christmas. You know what the worst part about that is? Or the best part, depending on how you feel about this? It's her 60th birthday.
It's her 60th
Christmas
birthday.
Day.
Well, you know, we've received a lot of messages from a lot of you saying thank you for covering this. Thank you for giving us the updates on what's been happening with this trial. Devin, you've been an all-star with this.
Well, honestly, I just feel like it's such a heavy topic. People
It's
don't
heavy.
want to talk about
Yeah.
it, but that's the reason things like this keep happening, right? If
Yeah.
we're not covering it, if we're not exposing it, which we'll get into at a later date,
Yeah.
but if we're not doing our job as journalists to get this out there, how are people going to know?
Right. So let's get into it. So, like, what has been happening?
So closing arguments took place on Monday, December 20th.
Okay.
Okay. The long and short of it is, the defense are saying, so the people who are on her side say that these were troubled young women and she was just there as, you know, a mother figure. She didn't know any of the things that Epstein was doing and she's just being treated as a scapegoat because Epstein's dead and they can't try him. As if that's a bad thing.
Sidebar, not to take this off topic, but wasn't it supposed to take like 6 weeks?
6 weeks is how long it was supposed to take. And it didn't. It took the prosecution, so people going after her, about 2.5 weeks. So they took almost their whole time. And then the defense took 2 days, give or take.
2 days.
2 days.
Not 3. 2. Okay.
So 2 days of them defending her.
Yeah.
She never testified, ever. She
didn't take the stand.
Nope. And
I wonder why. Incriminating, maybe stuff could have been said.
that's why
Too
they never
risky.
thought, that's why it wasn't anticipated that she would.
Right.
It really wasn't. It was anticipated that she wouldn't for that reason. Any slip of the tongue, anything she said offhand could be used against her.
And the prosecution, no doubt, would have gone hard
As
and
they should
hammered
have.
down. Right.
So she never testified. And what they did was bring in a memory expert to try to poke holes in these witnesses' testimonies.
What?
So this expert came in, was talking about how fragile memory is and how these girls, when they first accused Epstein, they never mentioned Maxwell. How well that's going to hold up in court, who knows?
Yeah.
However, that was their tactic, was trying to diminish these women's claims and say that, you know, if they never mentioned Maxwell in the first place, really building on that case of, you know, he's dead, so we need to be charging her to the fullest extent. And people acting like charging her to the fullest extent is a bad thing is really interesting to me, but why it's interesting to me because I feel like she should be persecuted as this heavily whether he was alive or not. I really don't feel like her crimes should have been exonerated because he was taking the blame for it, because he was the kingpin.
Got it.
And I say this with my chest.
Yeah.
Anybody who has been proven to abuse young women should be, young people, period, but young women are so vulnerable, and we hear this against young women so often, should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law and should serve the maximum sentence.
I appreciate the transparency, by the way. No, seriously. You know, at the end of the day, we're presenting the facts, but we also all have feelings.
For sure.
And people appreciate hearing your feelings.
When you hear statistics like 1 in 3 women will be sexually abused, 1 in 3 women will live through something like this. You're not looking at, if there's me and 2 of my friends, 2 of my girlfriends, that's one of us. It's more than 30%. So why are we letting this go on? It's great saying #MeToo. It's great putting your story out there, but why are we not taking physical, concrete action to prevent things like this from happening? You can't abuse young girls and get away with it, period.
So let's get back to this trial. Do we think that the prosecutors, did they present a strong case?
Yes, a very strong case.
Yeah.
They had witnesses of people who had been there when it was happening, people like, you know, the pilot who said that he never saw anything untoward happen, or Maxwell's assistant who said she never saw anything untoward happen. But these are people who were there, and they were able to poke holes in their testimony, in their statements. They were able to look at the way these girls were testifying, and girls, now women, because this was going on for such a long period of time. And it's been obviously, going back to what we had said at the beginning, because this the way this court case is being handled, there are no cameras in the court, so we're relying on testimony from reporters who were there. Just the testimony from reporters who were there coming out and saying, you know, this is what's happened today has been heartbreaking and heart-wrenching, hearing these women's stories second and third hand. So I'd have a very hard time believing that she will get off with this, but we shall see.
So let's answer this question, because a lot of people want to know. If she is convicted, how long could she potentially go away for?
70 years, 7 decades.
So she would basically die in jail.
She would 100% die in jail. Because if she were to serve 70 years,
Yeah.
even saying, you know, maybe she serves half of that, that's 35 years. She's turning 60 on Saturday. So she's 95 even if she only served half her sentence.
Okay. So we'll follow up as soon as we hear a verdict, of course.
And I just want to want to clarify that when we're talking about this, so she's facing several charges. We went over those previously. She could be found guilty on some of them and not others, and then she wouldn't be serving the full 70 years.
Got
but
it.
say she's being
That's a good
convicted
point.
on all of them,
Yeah.
70 years.
Okay. Good to know.
And that's not the only kind of similar situation we're seeing, right?
I know. Well, let's also talk about what's been happening in China with world famous tennis star.
Peng Shuai. So she's now,
She's resurfaced.
yeah, resurfaced.
She's resurfaced. As you know, we've also did a previous vlog about this, explaining how after coming out about sexual assault allegations for a very powerful man in China.
So the former vice premier.
This is a big deal. She, out of nowhere, couldn't be found.
Within moments of posting it, the post was gone and so was she. Thank the universe, thank a
Yeah.
higher being. She is back and she...
What is she saying though? What is she saying?
She's denying that she ever wrote a post. She's denying that she ever made the claims. And she's denying all speculation that there's any surveillance here. She's saying she's always been free. Everything she's done has been of her own free will, her own volition. She's not being surveyed.
出入自由嘛，就是会有人来监视啊，或者是怎么样嘛？
为什么会有人监视？一直都很自由。
So a lot of people online, you know, with speculations are that she didn't do this of her own free volition. She is under surveillance, and it's not just fans and people online. The Women's Tennis Association has come forward and said that they don't believe it themselves. So,
Well, this is the thing. I mean, we all know that China is a very big superpower, and there's a lot of course, we talk about this. There's human rights violations that are happening there right now. That's on the world's attention,
For sure.
right? There's a lot of world leaders and diplomats that are boycotting going to the Olympics that are going to be taking place in Beijing. The athletes are still going to go, but a lot of the diplomats are not going to go.
and that's soon. That's less than 2
Right,
months
so
from
we
now.
have to wonder, is that international pressure a factor of why she has now resurfaced? But again, we also don't know what's fully happening in China because they are under state-controlled media, and anything that comes out of there is controlled and by the government there. So there's so much. I'm happy she's returned
I am
safely.
too.
Clearly, she looked like she's there. She's physically there, but we also don't know what's happening in the background.
No, and I think this is to drive this point home again. This is very typical of people who make sexual assault allegations, men or women. When you're making an accusation against somebody who's high-powered, they will use that leverage to try to silence you and push you down.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Dev, good job reporting on this and following up on these stories. Hopefully you guys feel informed and know what's up to date, and make sure to keep it locked on this channel. Don't forget to subscribe, tap that notification bell, and make sure to follow us on all of our social media. Those details, by the way, are in the description below. Good
and
job,
for
Dev.
those of you who keep asking, we will be following the Peter Nygard trial in the new year.
Good point.
So
Good
keep
point.
it locked because we'll have you updated on that one too. That one's a little closer to home here in Canada. So.
Alrighty. Hey BG Squad, thanks so much for checking out our channel, and listen to this, we have more great content for you, like this video right here and this video right here. By the way, don't forget to subscribe to this channel right now and tap that notification bell.